frontier is defined as uncharted territory
It basically got out of its natural balance.
by land or ocean. Those who chart that territory tell a story. The past illustrates the blueprint for the present, how things are and how they've evolved. From land to water, we are challenged to border that new frontier, a frontier the outdoorsman knows like no other. Author Gary Lewis works his way along that edge of where discoveries, failures, and achievements have written the story of the sportsman. From state to state, continent to continent, the stories told create the foundation of the present, and they lay the framework for the future. Through the muzzle fire and on the stone are stories from the edge.
Water is the most important thing as far as Indians are concerned, 'cause that's life.
The past is written, the present is here, and this is Frontier Unlimited.
See how it's S and out there?
Steelhead, all I was using was a double aught hook, some cannonball split shots, oaky drifter, and bouncing them off the bottom.
Ooh, there he is, he's on. Yeah.
You get a lot of obstacles to catch these steelhead, so people have a lot of fun doing it. A lot of people don't have to catch a fish to come down here and enjoy the scenery, the river.
We are here for thousands of years, three tribes between the mountains, beside the river.
I've been doing this is my 18th year of doing this business, and it's been great. Started out not knowing a thing about fly fishing and worked my way up to where I'm at now. To begin with, I had to ask the tribal council for permission to do this, but before I started, I asked a lot of tribal members because water is the most important thing as far as Indians are concerned, because that's life.
When Lewis fishes with Bagley, he listens. Bagley's grandson, Matt Mendez, met us at the lodge at Canida on the Warm Springs Reservation.
So this is our Rattlesnake Springs. This is where we fill up our water for the day. We use this water for making stews after we get, kill elk and kill deer, and it's very clean, nice and fresh.
There's been rattlesnakes along the other side of the bank here. It's just rattlesnake central right here. And this is where they like to hang out.
They like the water too.
Yeah, they do.
Lots of Holden rock. In my past experience, that kind of puts the fish off a little bit, but I mean, I've caught many fish after a bump in water. So.
Well, I wanted to make sure that tribal members knew what I was doing, and they agreed to it, which some of them didn't, which is obvious, but there were some people against it when I first started, and I felled them out and talked to a lot of elders, and it was kind of back and forth, and when I did my business plan and my projection for 5 years, I went in front of tribal council for about 3 hours.
The Berkheimer.
Oh,
yeah,
Berkheimer.
I really like the Berkheimers.
Yeah, those are nice.
Carrie does a great job.
I broke Al's favorite Berkheimer one time when I was fishing with him. He didn't care a bit. I mean, he was just like, And then I sent it to Berkheimer, and he was like, oh yeah, we'll fix it. It was the easiest rod break I ever been involved with, actually.
They liked my plan, and at that time the Fish and Wildlife Committee was they had about 6 elders, and they wasn't opposed to it. They thought it was a good idea, and then we needed to change.
Mendez was concerned the flow was higher than the day before,
So our floats, Annie Dick to Whiskey Dick. Those names are on the
a
map.
function of the amount of water let through the dam at
We're
Pelton.
gonna take out at a spot above Whiskey Dick area. It's we call it Skookum Creek.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right.
Skookum.
Well, I got into fly fishing from being around my grandpa. He started the business in '96, and I moved here from California. And it was a big lifestyle change for me.
You go right over this, right mid-river. I mean, it's only 3 foot deep. And then down here where there's an impression, there's a big red there, and you'll probably end up seeing 4 or 5 salmon in there spawning. Right in that area, it's maybe 7 inches deep. We call it Nirvana. There's a soft edge inside of a fast rapid. So a nice holding spot.
Lots of ducks on the water today.
Hop out, hold on.
I am so rusty. I hope I can cast.
I think it'll come back to you. I know it'll come back to me.
Well, this is kind of a one-man hole. So that fly right out to that fast water there and just let it swing on into the bait.
Okay.
We'll get down and we'll start here.
Heisman, who lives on the Skagit River, is an enthusiast of the spey rod.
You don't want to cast up into that silly water there. Usually start right about there where it starts swinging. So we'll cast there, swing into the bank, just playing Battleship. Just let them take it, they'll hook themselves. You set the hook, you're going to pull that fly right out of their mouth. Rule number 1. This run is unique because it's soft on the inside edge and it's faster on the outside. So when the steelhead come up, they come up our side here and they hold in this, it's just about a 60-yard bucket. And they just lay in here. Nice holding spot before they make their way up to their spawning grounds. See how it's S-ing out there? Yeah. I've seen through the past that the fluctuation of water up and down and messing with the levels in the CFS, it really affects the steelhead fishing. If it comes up a night before, a day before, we're fishing. Like last night, it came up 200 CFS, which is going to make fishing today kind of interesting. So, I mean, I've caught fish during fluctuation of water, but it's a little more challenging, I've found. See how it's S-ing out there? Yeah. That's when you throw a mend into it. Yeah. After every cast, we'll work in 2-step increments. Okay. So we fish the whole run down to the overhang branch down there that I fished to.
Spey casting is a lot of fun. Doing it about 3 or 4 years now. It's nice and quiet, and I think there's something therapeutic about the water just moving by. Very calm. Very peaceful.
What we're trying to do is present the fly to all the fish that are in the reach of the cast. And so you start at the top of the run and you make a series of short casts that touch close to the bank and close in, because a lot of times in the early morning the fish could be really tight and in close. So we have a big river, but we're really fishing just a small part of it. And we want to try to show that fly to as many fish as we can. We're only fishing for the aggressive fish, the ones that are going to come up and chase it. And when they take the fly, they'll close their mouth around it, and then they'll turn and they'll head back to the spot that they came from. And so you let the fish take the fly and turn with it.
When it turns on it, you see it's right in the side of the mouth.
I don't know if Gary told you, steelhead, but never on the fly.
On the fly? Yeah. Oh man, this is the place to come, and we'll break you in there. If you can shoot some more line from that position, that'd be great. Okay. We're gonna try and cover this hole as far down as we can there. There you go. Right on.
Steelhead, all I was using was a double-aught hook, some cannonball split shots, some Okie drifter, and bounce them off the bottom.
Oh, there he is, he's on. Yeah.
On River Left, Lewis and Travis Heisman of Washington State cast the spey rod with a steelhead in mind.
So we're on the left side of the river. We call it River Left as we're drifting down in the boat, and this is all Warm Springs Reservation side. Every one of these runs has what we call the bucket, and it might be just a depression, a place where the fish are going to hold that has been created by the hydraulic action of the river, and it's the sweet spot. That's where the fish are holding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I got into fly fishing from being around my grandpa, started out shuttle driving and doing odds and ends around the business, fixing trailers and stuff like that. I slowly got into the guide game about sophomore year in high school. This is a high probability spot here. This is, I think, Gary's due. We get Gary on the spey rod.
Remember the first steelhead you caught with me?
I remember. Absolutely. That's why I'm here again.
You was a happy camper.
Bagley found this on the first run and watched from the high bank.
We went to front of tribal council and said, yeah, we'll give you 1 year. 1 year to see what happens, and if it works, it works.
So
if,
start throwing a downstream
then we'll expand.
I think you're fine there. You got a real nice straight drift.
Okay.
So just on your next cast, just try to cast a little lower.
Okay, very good.
Just try to get that rod tip as low to the water as possible. There you go. Yeah, I'm thinking about changing flies already, especially for our next spot. I'm a big fan of the egg-sucking leech, and I'm going to put a orange conehead on there. This one's on deck. So.
Mendez is one of the more thorough fly fishing guides Lewis has fished with, a great counterpoint to his grandpa's style of letting the angler work it out for himself.
I fished this river for 30, 40 years before I put all this fence line in. It was just open range. I learned fishing with night crawlers. That was my main bait. I would fish trout and steelhead both. I used to catch 30, 40 pounds of trout and stringers and take off this river when I was young.
So the way Travis ties his two flies, I find it's very interesting because he does like a double hook guide deal there. You gotta sink that hook into this hook guide. It's just a split tube. It's a great idea.
Just leapfrogging hole after hole, and we're going to the next spot. We call it the pitcher's mound. And we like to say we're going to pound the mound. That's where we're headed next. Third hole of the day.
There's fish in here. It's definitely fishy.
Heisman, who lives on the Skagit River, fishes for salmon and bull trout. Until this day, has not cut a steelhead on a swung fly.
For my Aquaseal weighted repair kit.
Guiding on the Deschutes River, equipment can take a beating.
All right, Matt. So basically what you're going to do is Aquaseal will cure with water, with moisture.
Okay.
But you don't want the river to wash it off. So
I see.
you put Aquaseal on, put the patch over it, and it's an immediate repair.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Like a Band-Aid. And you can leave it on or you can pull that off later and the Aquaseal will be dry.
Nice.
There you go.
We drifted, taking turns through the best slots, and ate our lunch bumping down riffles.
Steelhead, all I was using was a double aught hook, some cannonball split shots, an Okie drifter, and bouncing them off the bottom. And I was catching lots of steelhead. That's the only way I knew how to catch them.
So this is the Warm Springs Confluence. This is a spiritual river. Any confluence on any stream is a spiritual, it's a magical place. And I believe that tribal people in the area feel the same way. We like the steelhead fish here. Down at the bottom here, there's a nice steelhead bucket. What's really nice about this river is that the river is actually a little bit colder. 5-6 degrees even. You can really feel it when you're wading. Ooh. A lot of times they'll hit it hard to spin the handle. Once they spin the handle, then you give them the nuts.
I think it took it, and then it came and it took it again, and it was
Nibbling?
but hadn't turned its head.
We get very large red sides in this river. Ooh, there he is, he's on! Yeah!
Speaking of red sides,
We got ourselves a red side there, I believe, on the Warm Springs River. We're talking about him.
he chewed it like that first eat. It was just like chew, chew, chew. And now he's off, but we got the fun out of him. He was about 14 inches probably.
Nice eat, aggressive.
This is a good spot. I'm just trying to make sure I fish it right. One thing about Matthew is he's very thorough. And so it makes, when I'm fishing with him, it makes me want to cover the water with a lot of efficiency. And I know that there's fish hanging in here. It's shallow, but there's got to be a bucket in there somewhere, probably off those trees down there.
Halfway through the day, we switched from the boat game to the ground game.
I stopped trying to name it because everybody
Yeah.
ties a fly. There's 6 to 7 different names for each fly.
Yeah, that's right.
Mindus.
Well, it's warmed up a little bit.
Nice.
You get a lot of obstacles to catch these steelhead. So people have a lot of fun doing it. A lot of people don't have to catch a fish to come down here and enjoy the scenery, the river.
On River Left, in November, Lewis and crew are connecting on the other end of the line, but failing to bring the steelhead to the hand. As the fading light reflects off the line, the mends, the casts, they all illustrate the afternoon Deschutes run.
The weather's been really too good for steelhead fishing right now because it just keeps the fish inactive. They're not moving like they should. Then you get full sun like it is. They're not looking up, so you get a lot of obstacles to catch these steelhead. So people have a lot of fun doing it. A lot of people don't have to catch a fish to come down here and enjoy the scenery, the river, just get away from the rat race of working and just enjoying the river and friends. And come on over. They're hunkered down. They're not very active. They're staying on the bottom. I just give them a heavier sink tip. He had poly lead on here. He's not getting down deep enough. He's got about a 15-foot sink tip, type 6 with a short leader, and a heavy leech fly. And they've come a long ways to get up this far. Come clear for the ocean, and water gets away, they just rest. They don't move. See, usually they're moving right up through here. We've caught 5 or 6 fish a day in this hole before, but I think then you get that full sun coming out, then they really don't look up. But he'll be better now. I think you'll see the difference in that line.
After watching him through several turns, Bagley predicted the future for Heisman.
It's good call, Grandpa. Blue and black. First one to the fly, man. Here we go. It's big, too. Yeah. Put in one spot there for a little while. Just keep it until it runs out of gas. Slowly gonna work our way towards the bank. It's not done yet. It's got a lot of gas left, so right underneath the belly there. Beautiful, nice bright November fish. Make sure she has a strong takeoff. There we go. Yeah! Woo! Yeah. That steelhead buck.
Maybe I should start war dancing.
So this is Upper Wing Dam hole. Down below there's a class 3 rapid. This is their first holding area once they get through that fast water.
Oh, that was awesome. Woohoo! I was watching the tops of the boulders and I knew I was showing the fly to new fish every swing. And didn't know whether one would grab or not, but woohoo! I haven't seen it yet. And it hasn't let me get any line on it. It's moving now, man.
We're gonna want to stay put here.
He's getting right in amongst us. Man, he's feeling line again. Wow. Got him corralled.
I'll let him straighten out.
Okay. There he is. He's gone, but we had him. We saw him. Oh, man. We were getting it in close and getting down to the part where it was time to think about releasing it. And what we did is we sprung the hook.
Every day is a promise, and every steelhead a gift. She never jumped, but when she was close, Lewis and crew saw her, another 7-pound female, chrome with all the colors of the rainbow. On the best days, we exchange our gifts. This time it was Bagley's foreknowledge, Mendez's attention to detail, and Heisman's focus.
Most of the clients, they leave here satisfied, and whether they catch a bunch of fish or not, they just love this river. There's nothing like the Deschutes River. It's just, there's times I can come down here in the evening time, bring a rod, and sit, and bring a chair, and not even throw a cast, just lay and sit and listen to the water and take a nap.
There is the smell of sage in the frosty air, perhaps a glimpse of bighorn sheep or mule deer on the cliffs above, and the rhythm of the river that connects us to the past, our present, and the future.